Okay, I'm going to start.
I guess he could
webinar.
turn the camera on so we know who he is. We run
thought it
into
was
him in the
on.
hall.
Okay, hold on.
Okay, we are now
All
live
right.
streaming. I'm going
Might
to
be here
start
now.
recording here in a moment, and then okay, I'm going to start.
I guess he could turn the camera on so we know who he is.
Okay.
Okay, I think we are good to go, Madam Chair.
Okay, thank you. Well, welcome everyone to the January 23rd, 2023 Lincoln County Planning Commission meeting. Let's call the roll.
Madam Chair.
Here.
Commissioner Cutler,
Here.
Commissioner Kier,
Here.
Commissioner Bugenhagen,
Here.
Commissioner Skolnick,
Here.
Commissioner Lambrick,
Here.
Commissioner Fox.
Here.
You have a full house.
Great. Thank you all for making it tonight. At this time, is there any way that we can take public comments for anything not on the agenda? Do we have anything?
There's nothing that's not on the agenda, at least from our perspective, but
I don't know how someone would do that since we're not doing chat. They'd have to be calling, I guess, somehow tonight, but
There was a link for folks to register.
okay.
So anyone could register for the meeting tonight.
Okay.
If they wish to give public comment.
Okay, so we don't have anybody that I know of. So tonight, we're just going to be holding a live electronic meeting on case file 02 ZC PC 22 to adopt the findings, conclusions, and final order for a zone change request by Michael Wilson for the Olala Golf Course from PF Public Facilities to RR5 Rural Residential on 2 tax lots totaling 55.11 acres. The comprehensive plan designation for the subject property is dispersed residential. The applicant is requesting that the zoning be changed from Public Facilities PF to Rural Residential RR5. To go over the proceedings to date, the public hearing was held on December 5th, 2022. The hearing and record were both closed, and the Planning Commission deliberated to reach an oral decision. A motion was made and carried to approve a zone change for case file 02 ZC PC 22. The motion also directed the applicant to prepare findings in an order. Tonight, we're scheduled to review the findings, conclusions, and final order prepared and submitted by the applicant. I hope at this time everyone has had an opportunity to go over that. And at this time, I need a motion to adopt those final findings, or a motion to amend any of the proposed findings, conclusions, or final order prior to their adoption.
Madam Chair, this is Terry Bugenhagen. I move that we go ahead and approve the zoning change to the Olala Golf Course. I don't have all the specifics in front of me right now, but you did a good job of laying them out.
adopting the findings.
Adopting the findings.
Adopting the findings, yes.
Okay, terrific. Thank you, Terry. Would anyone care to second that?
I would. Richard Cutler.
Okay, Dick has seconded. And then let's go through and call the roll to take a vote.
Okay, Madam Chair,
Yes.
Commissioner Fox,
No.
Commissioner Kier,
Yes.
Commissioner Lambrick,
Yes.
Commissioner Skolnick,
Yes.
Commissioner Cutler,
Yes.
Commissioner Bugenhagen.
Yes,
The motion carries. Thank you.
Okay, thank you all. Next, we need to look at the minutes from that meeting, and a motion to, I would entertain a motion to approve the draft minutes at this time.
I would so move. This is Terry.
All right, and a second.
I'll second. This is
Scarlett.
Scarlett.
Okay, let's go around again, Megan. Motion to approve the draft minutes.
from the December 4th public hearing.
Right, December 5th, 2022.
Thank you. Madam Chair,
Yes?
Commissioner Fox,
Yes.
Commissioner Tier,
Yes.
Commissioner Lambert,
Yes.
Commissioner Skolnick,
Yes.
Commissioner Cutler,
I have to abstain. I missed the meeting.
Commissioner Bugenhagen.
Yes,
Thank you.
Okay. Do we have any planning commission concerns at this time?
I've just got, unless somebody else wants to speak up, I've got a little bit of coming attractions to looking ahead. It was at the end of last week that the Oregon Department of Transportation got a hold of me because on goal 18, they've right, our beaches and dunes goal, they remember how we, of course, we went through the goal 18 goal exceptions. Well, we have another goal exception coming. And this time it's following up on rulemaking that the Land Conservation and Development Commission did with the urging of our county commissioner, Katie Jacobson, who was on LCDC for the last year or two. She just stepped down, but while she was there, tracking a lot of the goal 18 stuff that you guys went through as well, her message to ODOT was, we really, not quarreling with any of the policies of goal 18, but in some cases, that really puts local government officials in a bind. And then, so she was pointing out that the department and LCDC needs to think about making some changes to goal 18, and the Land Conservation Development served up for the LCDC a goal amendment or a rule amendment that talked about finally addressing what is the status of Highway 101 under goal 18. So I'm expecting, yeah, right. I see Terry there going like, oh boy, because the state had been, this issue had gotten so political that the state really sort of, when it came to Highway 101, just did not take a position. And therefore, goal exceptions are required for any time you need to repair Highway 101. And so they're asking us to be the first candidate out of the chute to work with this new goal and address the chunk of highway from Otter Crest to Newport. So some of you may remember it wasn't that long ago on OPB that I was featured with a radio program that was very widely heard. I can't believe how many people contacted me. And I was photographed with a glove in my mouth just because I was getting my clothes on in the rain. And the reporter took the picture of me standing next to where Highway 101 is about to fall onto the beach. And so I guess I got it coming because drew attention to the fact that something after these several decades really needs to be done there. We need to get on with it. And so that I'm not sure exactly when that's going to land in your laps. We're still talking to ODOT. We've got some internal work to do on it, on how we want to handle that. So that's coming. And I also want to share with you that, and I'd be happy to have your involvement in this. Recall when we went through the Brian Booth State Park, what am I going to call that, ordeal, that zone change that never happened. And there was a very firm promise that we all made collectively to the community right there. They were complaining about many of the drainage issues, if you recall. That was one of the many issues that the people living there had with trying to get people's attention, saying our farm fields are, where the drainage in Beaver Creek is all screwed up. And they had been unsuccessful at trying to talk to ODOT and state parks and others. So if you recall, that was one of the aggravating issues And I don't know if it was, I guess it was me that said at a certain, in maybe a weak moment or a good moment. We can't really solve all of that in this zone change discussion, but it's so important to the community there. How about we just make a pledge on the part of Lincoln County that we have some kind of process where we can do some fact finding on the issues related to the mouth of Beaver Creek. So that process is not really going to be a formal land use process as we envision it. And I'm working with Katie on this, but we've already reached out to some of the property owners there. I've already reached out to ODOT to gather information and to have maybe 1 or 2 community meetings, maybe down in Seal Rock, with people from the community there and other people from state agencies, Watershed Council, to talk about Beaver Creek and the mouth of Beaver Creek, because there's a lot of reports that the mouth of Beaver Creek was substantially altered decades ago by ODOT. They built riprap out pretty far away from the actual bridge there. And so it's something that the community has been wrestling with for a long time, trying to get people to pay attention to this. And so when Commissioner Jacobson contacted me recently to point out that she was getting some more calls about that from her constituents, I did remind her that we had all made a commitment to at least have a fact-finding exercise, a short one, to finally shed light on that issue and just even see what's going on with that. So we've sort of kicked that off. I did just recently with an email to one of our counterparts at ODOT asking for all the information that they have about previous riprap jobs that they did even decades ago at the mouth of Beaver Creek. And so I'll keep you informed about that. I'll share with you this sort of cover letter that we're sending out to various agencies. Again, it's sort of a call for information, and we'll be sharing it with the community as well. Some people there are expecting that we're going to do this. So I think it'll be fun and interesting. And I just think, look at Andrew say, no, I really do. And because it's a complicated subject. And I love the idea, frankly, that we have, instead of that whole community being upset that they have issues, they have observations, there's things they want to share about the ecology of that estuary, and nobody seems to be paying attention. So we're going to provide an opportunity for them to get stuff on the record and to make sure that we bring in as much information from all the players and share that information with everybody and see what that does.
Okay, Phil, I can see your hand up.
Yeah, most of the old timers are past.
We've lost a lot of them. Yeah.
Yeah. And my suggestion would be, I think Mr. Katie is probably the last of the old timers, or one of the last of the old timers. And somebody from the planning department needs to interview him because he's not well. And so if we could at least get him on tape to what his recollection and history was, that would be a great starting point. And if somebody could do that, as rather than how everything takes time, but this could be done right away.
Just get his observations ASAP then. Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you for sharing that. I'll pursue that. There are and I've heard from some of the folks up there that yes, a lot of the old timers have passed.
Yeah.
But I think that just makes this that much more important.
Yeah.
To sort of get this information out now.
I can remember myself back in the 60s that Ken Zeke and Walt Hallowell would bring bulldozers down there and just bulldoze the hell out of the beach to drain Beaver Creek. And then, of course, the winter storms would come back in and plug it back up again. And then ODOT got involved with their riprap, and then everything went to heck. So,
and now that the beginnings of some of the information is beginning to come in, that Lincoln County back in the 1960s was actually an applicant to dredge the mouth of Beaver Creek. Lincoln County, early 70s. So again, there's just all this information I don't know where this is going to lead, but one thing is I think can be said is that we made a promise to that community that we're going to gather information, at least share that with the powers to be, and use the good offices of Lincoln County to finally get some of this flushed out and look at that. So I have no idea really where it's going. Obviously, we live in a highly regulated environment. The idea that you just go out and do things, but there's a very interesting history. So thank you for the tip to make sure that I talk to old man Katie there, because right, we're at the cusp of losing some of those old timers. So,
Ano, I would
Please.
also be very, very proactive into reaching out to a lot of the same people that had issues with the whole water project down there. And also Seal Rock Water might have a few things to say about this.
absolutely.
And my recollection of the Brian Booth meetings was there was like a person that was highly advocating for this. So I don't know if how many people are actually affected, because I mean, that's such a dynamic area, and in the summertime, there's not a lot of water down there, and sometimes, you know, the wetlands look like a little mud pond. I don't know. I would just, yeah, gather facts, but I would be very proactive with the whole community, and not just the ones that have the big illegal signs up right now that have been up for now 2 years, about the dam water of Beaver Creek up in the trees and all over the place. And you know, the loudest voice and whatnot, or the most money, shouldn't be the key to this whole process. But I'm sure if Katie was looking into this, that, you know, she's listening to more than hopefully one person.
Well, and your point is extremely well taken, that this is not about a handful of individuals. It's about, and there were far more concerns than the one individual. And I've talked to a number of people there. I've been on site during the Brian Booth with other neighbors talking about drainage practices, and there was never any follow-up. So, look, it's the beauty of this too, is it's information sharing, right? That I'll talk to as many people as possible. And then at least that information's there. It's there to share with future generations, capture what we know, what we don't know. And, but again, I just feel it's important. We made a commitment to do that, and it's not a big deal to do that. And, obviously, before anything happens, there's probably a wealth of studies and other kinds of things. Before anyone thinks they're going to do anything, there has to be a lot of information. You know, there's another important process down there, that the old mill site is going to be is on a path to go toward being part of a restoration project. So I think there's a lot of good synergies there, where we just bring different people together. And yes, for some of the shrill voices, I've said to them, I said, look, this is not about an outcome. This is about a process where we all share information and take it from there.
Well, it's interesting. They're both ODOT related, these two things that you brought up. So,
and Highway 101 related. And
yeah.
And past decisions made a long time ago, and challenges. So yeah, there's maybe a little bit of theme going on there. So
All right, Scarlett.
okay.
So how many endangered species do we have down in Ona Beach area and Beaver Creek? Do we know?
Well,
Not aware of any.
in fact, you know, the ones, because even in Bayshore now, we've got, right, Megan, we've got snowy plovers out on the spit there. It's really quite amazing that back in the day when, there's like 50 snowy plovers out on Bayshore.
And there's salmon in the
Of course, yeah. No, it's a real complicated ecologically and bureaucratically what's going on with Beaver Creek, and they're just seeing a lot of rapid erosion, and again, this drainage thing has been an issue for a long time. I'd like to think that this is not about making a couple people happy that have complaints. It's about also gathering information to ask ourselves what's best for that estuary there. because that really doesn't seem to be happening. So, and again, a short process to the extent that there's no land use component to this. I'm just sharing this with you because if any of you want to be involved, that would be great. Seeking your feedback now. And this is sort of an outcome of a process that you've been involved in already.
Another question, Beverly Beach area, isn't there plans to take the highway to the east?
Well, 20, 30 years ago, talk about something that everyone keeps kicking the can down the road. When Spencer Creek Bridge was repaired
Right,
a couple decades ago,
right,
the new bridge built, there was quite an extensive,
Right.
kind of EPA, many meetings with the community there, alternatives, one where they would have just moved the road a little bit inland, taken out all those houses and bought them all out and moved the highway in a little bit. There was another scenario the highway would have gone inland quite a ways,
Yeah.
like a quarter mile or something like that. So there's been a wealth of earlier activities around this issue. And nothing
There's
ever
no plan.
happened.
Right, there's no current plan.
Right.
do that.
And ultimately what's going to happen is if nobody does anything, that Highway 101 is going to fall into the ocean and it's going to be repaired on an emergency basis. And that's a lousy way to run a railroad. People will probably get killed if once that highway falls off. And repairing, and I'm no fan of riprap, but if that riprap needs to be there to protect that piece of highway, the last thing you want to do is have to repair that on an emergency basis, because the footprint would probably be a lot larger than doing something more strategic and thoughtful. And we don't even, right now, they don't even know if it necessarily would be riprap, how much. Again, the conversation just started this week, but I think it's a responsible thing to have the conversation. So we're hardly in a position to saying, no, we really hope you don't go ahead and do that right now. And I think all of us, we just went through goal 18. We're kind of up to it. And I know that ODOT's looking at this as an opportunity. They have respect for what you do and what our commissioners do to sort of begin to, really begin another dialogue through the exception process. Because remember, if there is a goal exception for that part of the highway or that stretch of highway and other parts, then there's still a rigorous process that has to happen with state parks about an alternatives test and yada, yada, yada. So it doesn't automatically mean you get to have riprap. It just means you don't have to go through a goal exception to begin a dialogue with Oregon State Parks.
so just out of curiosity here, I've been here since 82. I was on that section of highway today. Since that map of taking the highway further east and today, what has been done? Do we know? I mean, somebody's got to be thinking about this thing. I mean, what was it, 99 when foul weather fell in, we realized that we had a sensitive area as a state.
I think this issue has been so polarizing. The people that hate riprap, the people that can't believe that you don't just immediately go out there and riprap something. There's such a gulf politically between and spiritually the way people. And Liz, you got something to add? Please.
Go ahead, Liz.
Oh, yeah, I was going to say, it's not really a riprap. It's the montmorillonite lens that runs through that soil up there that's causing the problem. And, they need to really listen to Dogami in this. And I think they've kind of ignored a lot of the recommendations of the geologists through the years. And that's one of the reasons we're seeing what we're seeing right now. But it's not really a riprap issue. It really is other kinds of modifications. So it's just a little input there, but it's a big problem, it really is through that whole area.
There's a number of fault lines, 7 or more fault lines that come together right there. Is that correct, Liz?
I can speak to that.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm having trouble with my internet connection. Yes, there's several fault lines that come together, but what you see with that hummocky ground through there, that
Yep.
is before you get to the, where the
Right.
big dip is, that's all the Montmorillonite soil that just churns, we have quite a lens of it right through that area.
Okay, thank you.
Dick, do you want to add something?
I do. As a resident of Otter Rock, I bought a house there, small house in 1997, and I met a resident geologist. His name is Al Nime, and he was either in charge of or an assistant to the chief geologist at Oregon State University. And for years, he's had a group come over every year, and they walk the beaches from Otter Rock up to the lighthouse, which is about 4.5 miles. And he points out all of the faults. There are many of different depths. But the biggest problem just south of Otter Rock is a slide that's been going on for every year that I've lived there, and it's very active. If it gets a lot of rain, I remember driving from Otter Rock to Newport on a smooth road, and then coming back, and there was a four-inch curb that just appeared, and it's a part of the slide. There's a huge section of, and you can see the trees kind of leaning back where the slide is. But they understand how that works, and I know they've put a lot of asphalt in there. I attended all those meetings, and I was very pleased that they decided not to go inland. Just from a personal view, I love the drive along the ocean to Newport. It's one of the advantages of living out there. But I was right. It's
Okay, Phil, do you have something to add? I see your hand up.
Well, my opinion, which isn't worth anything, is that no matter what happens, if the big one hits, there ain't going to be anything there.
We
So-
don't, yeah,
Yeah, so maybe we should wait until the big one hits, and then they can repair everything all the way up and down 101. And
Well, and that's the trajectory we're on now, and not necessarily for the big one, but if you stand next to the highway and look, it's a sheer straight up and down.
Yeah.
Any day, you or I or our families could be on that road, and it could give way, and it's not going to take Cascadia. So, look, I don't know what the answer is, but there's a long overdue dialogue that I think, frankly, for the longest time, until you and our commissioners finally cracked open the first goal 18 in Glen Eden Beach and this and that, and Katie just, when she was on LCDC, she said, we really need to be taking a hard look at some of these things and grasp this nettle. It's kind of like Beaver Creek. I don't know what the answer is, but at least we're talking about it.
Well, maybe we should pause further conversation just because if it is coming before the planning commission, it might be prudent to hold off on opinions being formulated right now.
Right. So this is one big ex-party contact.
So, yeah, so before we adjourn, I just wanted to point out, I can't remember at the December meeting if our new assistant county counsel was introduced to the planning commission, but I just wanted to point out that Mr. Doug Holbrook is in attendance tonight. He is the new assistant county counsel replacing Jerry Urbage. So you'll be seeing his name on our planning commission meetings here as our legal expert.
Great.
So if everyone can give a welcome to Doug, I would appreciate that.
Yes, welcome, Doug.
Thank you.
And also a PSA, if you're not already subscribed to the Lincoln County Nixle site, Beverly Beach will be repaving this week, Tuesday through Thursday. There will be closures and whatnot, so plan accordingly.
I received that. I drive from Lincoln City every day, so I know that road well.
Right. So anyhow, hopefully we will have some of these conversations coming up soon. If there are any workshops or whatever, staff will hopefully let us know on both of these topics.
Yeah.
I will now, just please differentiate between the two. The one is the goal 18 exception for that part of Lincoln County, that's very much a traditional coming right at you in a formal way. The Beaver Creek conversation is very much a much more informal. But either way, I will let you know exactly what's going on with both. Phil, you still get your hand up? Did you get your points taken
Oh,
care
yeah.
of already?
Yeah, I did. I got
Okay,
it.
very cool. Thank you for letting me share all that with you. And Megan, thank you for making sure we got home in a decent hour. And
We will be working on the notice of decision over the next couple days. So for those of you still watching, staff will be preparing that and sending that out to all folks that participated either by submitting written testimony or oral testimony or any interested parties. So those will be mailed accordingly based on the decision from tonight. So I just want
Great. And do we have any anything coming up in the near future? No. Okay,
no land use applications that will go before you as of right now. Mhm.
great. Okay, well, it's good to see everyone at this time. We are going to adjourn this meeting.
thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you all.
Bye-bye.